One of the most powerful storms ever in the Atlantic continues to batter Florida. Streets in Miami are completely flooded as Hurricane Irma advances further in other parts of Florida. The powerful hurricane knocked down trees and poles and blew debris on roadways. Reports say that 4 people have been killed and more than 3.3 million residents are left without power due to the heavy winds and continuing rainfall. In Florida Keys, authorities have warned of a looming humanitarian crisis, and raids have submerged the highways that connect the isolated Florida Keys with the mainland. Miami Airport too is completely shut and submerged right now. And meanwhile, 32 people have been arrested across Florida for trying to loot empty businesses and homes evacuated because of Hurricane Irma. Shocking video emerged of people trying to break into stores and trying to take advantage of deserted properties.
We saw more people stealing shoeboxes and among other items. And now that pawn store.
And the storm, which is reduced to Category 2, is blowing winds of up to 153 km per hour and downed a construction crane and shook tall buildings in Miami. The crane torn apart and dangling from the top of the building can be seen. In Palm Bay, several mobile homes were destroyed by a tornado in Fort Lauderdale. Waves from the intercoastal waterway lashed the coast in winds tore siding and they blew debris into roadways. And U.S. President Donald Trump has called Irma a big monster. He also approved emergency federal aid for Florida, which is the third most populous U.S. state and generates about 5% in United States GDP. And after punishing Florida, Georgia is Irma's next target. It could hit Georgia by Monday afternoon. The National Weather Service warned possible river flooding on Monday and Tuesday. State government offices were ordered to stay closed on Monday and Tuesday, and schools and classes were also cancelled. While in Cuba, residents are using boats to get around downtown Havana. Waves of up to 36 feet smashed businesses along the seaside. Irma did not directly hit Havana, but it's driving giant waves and rains in the region. And my colleague Molly Gambhir takes you with, in fact, the explanation of how Irma is advancing. Over to you, Molly.
Jessica, we have been tracking the very latest when it comes to the path that the monstrous Hurricane Irma has been taking. We have also been speaking to locals on ground and experts who have been telling us of the intensity and also the movement that the monstrous storm has been taking. We have the map for our viewers and to actually try and break down the kind of trajectory that the storm has been taking all throughout, starting from Virgin Island, moving upwards. Now remember, latest, of course, that was come in after it had arrived in Florida as a Category 4 hurricane. It had then reduced in terms of its intensity, but we also know that in terms of the efforts that have been made by the personnel working against time to ensure that as many shelters have been put up as well. Now, while it has moved onwards from Cuba, remember, as Havana is concerned, we have been tracking the numbers in terms of the personnel working against time to ensure that movement of necessary help is ensured. More than 160,000 people have been waiting statewide as the hurricane moves forward. We also know, as far as the emergency efforts that have been made as Hurricane Irma moves, We also have been getting in the latest in terms of where exactly the storm is. Now, we also have been getting in the movement in terms of where the storm has been moving in terms of Alabama. 11 a.m. Tuesday, this is all local time. The center of the hurricane was about 60 miles north of Tampa. The National Health Service has, of course, indicated that some 3 million people living in the Tampa Bay area, the region, has not been hit by a major hurricane since the year 1921. Irma is expected to weaken into a tropical storm over far northern Florida or southern Georgia later, but first its center will continue to essentially move over the western Florida peninsula. Back to you, Jessica.
Right. Thank you, Molly, in fact, for getting us those details. And in fact, we're telling you about the storm Irma that has, in fact, surged in the entire United States. We're getting you updates every minute. We have all the details lined up for you here on WION. We're tracking that particular development closely.
Oh.